Spatafor, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, so I'm assuming everybody can. Just as a little housekeeping, the first order of our business is public comments. If anyone wants to speak, will you let us know now? We'll put you on the list. And then when we call your name, you'll have, I think we'll do like 3 minutes, since there's probably going to be a number of people that want to speak in the public comment. All right. Anybody on Zoom that wants to speak, unmute yourself, identify yourself, let us know.
Ron, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Mike.
I would like to speak.
All right, we got Michael Spatafor. Anyone else?
Yeah,
Now
this
is
is
your time.
this is Jenny Santilli. I'd like to,
One more time, please.
this is Jenny Santilli. I'd like to speak.
All right, Ms. Santelli, all right?
I would like to speak. My name is
Who is-
Alice Meehan.
All right, Alice, we have you. Could not copy. One more time.
Alice Meehan. M-E.
Alice, we got you.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Anyone else? Hearing no one else, if you all will please mute yourself again. And when we call your name, you can unmute and we'll give you allow you to speak. All right. Mr. Parker, first order of business is public comment.
Faye Dixon.
Come on up, please. Identify yourself for the record.
Okay.
To speak.
Okay. Am I okay here?
You're fine.
All right. My name's Faith Dixon. I'm a lifelong resident of Harrison County. We moved to Clarksburg in the early 70s. And way back then, I questioned why there was a statue of a Confederate soldier on the front of the courthouse in a Union state. I just didn't understand it then. I don't understand it now. The soldiers in his army shot and killed the soldiers in the Army of the United States of America. If they want to honor him, put it somewhere on Jackson property or somewhere not in front of the courthouse where people of all races, including my Italian immigrant ancestors, have to walk by and look at a man who wanted to keep us all as second-class citizens. I don't see the need for it. I don't understand it. And I support removing the statue. That's all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Mindy Scott, are you gonna, okay.
Jimmy, no, we're going to get you right after the
Yeah.
public comment.
Gary Sutler?
Gary, if you don't mind, identify yourself for the record and you'll have 3 minutes.
Gary Stutler. And the comment I want to make on that is, I don't see anybody has a right to force American history. That statue should stay there. Them people, they was the brothers on the north and the south. They was all Americans. And like I mentioned before is, if they're going to take that statue down, then they should take the Civil War trail history books. I think it should stay.
All right. Thank you very much, Gary.
Security guard's gonna check and see if there's any other individuals downstairs.
All right. In the meantime, let's do those that's on Zoom.
Mike Spatafor.
Michael. Mike, unmute
You need to
yourself.
unmute yourself, Mike.
There you go.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me now?
You got 3 minutes, Michael.
My name is Michael Spatafor. I'm the president of the Clarksburg History Museum in downtown Clarksburg. the Clarksburg History Museum Committee, we haven't really taken a stand on whether the statue of Stonewall Jackson should be left at the courthouse plaza or moved to another location. But as a committee, we want to let the county commission know that we would like to be involved in the process, whether the statue stays on the courthouse plaza. We would like to be involved in maybe enhancing that statue and that display. If the statue is moved to another location, we've developed a plan and we have 3 alternate locations that we think would be appropriate to teach the history of Stonewall Jackson. This is his birthplace. We do have an exhibit of Stonewall Jackson at the Clarksburg History Museum. And so I wanted to let you know that we have 3 possible locations for the statue that would enhance the museum, and I think we would be able to tell the story of Stonewall Jackson, and his other family members, and we could make that into a good exhibit. One of those locations would be the Clarksburg History Museum itself, and then we have a couple other locations in downtown Clarksburg. So I just want to let you know that we would like to be involved in the process moving forward. I don't know if you're having another vote today or not, but whether you vote today or you have another vote at another time, we as the Clarksburg History Museum Committee would like to be involved in making this work for everybody, making everybody happy, hopefully. Does anybody have any questions?
No, thank you, Michael.
Thank you. You have a good day.
All right, Willie.
Joni Santelli?
Ms. Santelli, unmute yourself.
Oh, you muted. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep, identify
think
yourself. You have 3
we're-
minutes.
Okay, my name is Dr. Jenny Santilli, and I'm a public school teacher. I teach Spanish, and part of my curriculum is telling the truth about Columbus, about how slavery was brought to the Americas, and sometimes they're pretty uncomfortable discussions, but I teach my kids all the facts. And I don't think we've done that with that statue of Stonewall Jackson. And they don't have statues of Hitler in Germany. They don't have statues of Saddam Hussein in Iraq. And I don't think we need, I know we don't need the statue of Stonewall Jackson in front of the courthouse. He did have some fine qualities as a military person, but the bottom line is he was a traitor to this country and he owned slaves. And I don't think that's something that we need in Harrison County. Our county is very progressive. We have numerous ethnic festivals, 4 that I can think of right off the top of my head. This is just not a welcoming sight for our county, and it should be removed. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Willie.
Alice Meeham?
Unmute yourself, Alice.
Oh, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, thanks for having me. My name is Alice Wyatt Meehan. I live in Morgantown, but I was raised in Clarksburg, graduated from WI High School in 1974. I fully support all the efforts to remove both of the Stonewall Jackson statues in West Virginia. I think most of us know the main purpose of the Civil War was to abolish slavery and free African Americans. In 2003, George W. Bush authorized legislation to establish the National Museum of African American History and Culture. It opened 13 years later. I remember seeing the buildings over the years, the building of it. He attended the dedication with his wife, Laura, and President Obama. President Bush said, and I quote, "A great nation does not hide its history. It faces its flaws and corrects them. Our country, founded on the promise of liberty, held millions in chains. That museum tells the truth, and that's the end quote. I strongly believe that our children, as Ms. Santilli said, they need to know the whole history of our country, our blessings, our sins, and our struggles. When the COVID pandemic ends, and I hope it's sooner than later, I highly recommend class trips to this spectacular museum, and maybe even the Holocaust Museum, so our children can learn and experience what is missing from our history textbooks. In the meantime, that's where Stonewall Jackson statues belong, in a museum. I also recommended partnering with the Historic Society and Mr. Spatafor to help determine its proper placement. It certainly does not belong on any courthouse square or Capitol grounds. Instead, we need to make monumental efforts, pun intended, to discover our connectedness with all peoples. That is what would make America great. And I believe that is an innate desire for all of us. So let's make Clarksburg a more welcoming town. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alice. Willie?
That's everybody that had signed up in the public comment and through Zoom.
Rick, do you, is there anyone in the hallway?
No, sir. Just to listen.
Oh, okay. No other public comment?
I have a public comment.
Where have you been?
I'm here, sorry, I was a minute late.
Identify yourself for the record. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. My name is Rhett Madison. We're also known as Madison Douglas. I was grew up in Clarksburg, West Virginia, and went through the school systems of West Virginia and the Harrison County. I would also like to state my support of the removal of the Stonewall Jackson statue today from Clarksburg Courthouse property. As a student in Harrison County, I feel like I never learned the history behind that statue just by looking at it on courthouse property. I want to say that history will not be erased by moving that statue to a more appropriate place like a museum or returning it to the Daughters of the Confederacy. I'm sure you've heard a lot of statements and emails about how those statues were erected mostly in the 1950s and 1960s, as a deliberate choice during the civil rights movement to intimidate Black Americans. And I feel like as a city, we are better than wanting to glorify white supremacy, bigotry, and slavery with a trophy of a soldier that fought for the Confederacy. I hope if you take a vote today that you side with relocating the statue, whether again it's just back to the Daughters of the Confederacy or to a museum. I think it's an embarrassment to Clarksburg that we've now had press out of sight of West Virginia reporting that we still have yet to remove a Stonewall Jackson monument from our city. And I hope that you look inside yourself. I hope you've looked at those emails that you've received in support of the removal. I hope you've listened to people today that are coming forward. I hope you've done your own research. I hope you make a vote that would be on the right side of history starting now. Thank you so much for listening to my comment.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Parker, that's it.
That's it that I'm aware of.
Public comment period is closed. It's now 10:15. Mr. Griffin, Jim, you got the floor and you can bring up anyone that you want with you. That's fine. And you can pull a chair up if you guys would like to be seated. That's fine.
I would like to do that.
Just identify yourselves for the record and you have whatever time you need. Okay. Thank you, sir.
We do have another gentleman for public comment that evidently there was a miscommunication that was here and wished to speak. So however the commission would like to proceed with that. Let the-
Jim, if you would like to yield and let the, last
Sure.
person that,
All right,
who listed,
Bill Foster.
Mr. Foster. That's all right, you can still sit there, that's. Bill, come on up and identify yourself for the record, and you, also have up to 3 minutes.
I'm a member of Clarksburg, Harrison County voters and all that. I live in Clarksburg since '75. Born in Michigan, where we didn't have some of this problem, but we have others. But I noticed that the name Democrat Party comes out of the pre-Civil War era in the South in particularly, and was strictly for slavery. And even after the Civil War, the Democrat Party name was strictly for slavery. And it seems to me that saying, oh, but we've changed now, isn't really enough for them. If we're going to be so fussy about these things, we might need to change the name Democrat Party and ban them from being able to vote, set up voting lists in the county. That's a bit extreme, but I think it's also a bit extreme to change the name, to change the statue out front, because I don't think he was put out there, regardless of who did it, he wasn't put out there as a hero. He wasn't put out there as somebody who could change back to slavery or remind, and I'm sorry I haven't heard, I thought he was going to be speaking before this. I hadn't heard from any black people on the issue before, and I just didn't realize that would be that much of a problem for them. I'm not against moving it to the history place if that's what has to be done, but we don't have any black police captain like we used to have, or police chief, and we don't have a black mayor like we used to have. But I thought that the Clarksburg had demonstrated that they were not anti-racial or anti-black or anti-African American. And I'm sorry to all of those people who feel that they are discriminated against in this county, because I never felt it, and I'm not black. But I just wanted to put that in there, that it's hard to me to vote for them if they are an anti-slavery or a pro-slavery party. I fail to see what the difference is. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bill. All right, Jim, the floor is yours, sir.
All right, my name is James Griffin. I'm the chairman of the Board of Directors for the West Virginia Black Heritage Trust. My last visit here with you, I was requesting support for the festival. As you might know, the festival has been canceled, but at that time I told you that we were going to be doing some things, scholarships, and we're still working at that. We wanted to try to award 30 scholarships in celebration of our 30 years. We don't know if we're going to be able to reach that goal, but we're going to do what we can, and we're still working on that. And we again thank you for your support, and hope to be back and to report a positive on that. With me today is Angelica Scott. She is a member of the board. You know, oftentimes they said there's a generation gap. I'm one of the older people on the board, and she's the youngest person on the board. But today there is no generation gap. We're in an agreement in what we're going to say to the commission today, and she's going to be helping me. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Psalms 133:1. Dear Commissioners, the following is the official statement of the West Virginia Black Heritage Festival, Inc. concerning the discussion on the relocation of the Stonewall Jackson statue on the Courthouse Plaza, and we request that this document to be read in entirety for the record. We, the Board of Directors of the West Virginia Black Heritage Festival, and the African American citizens of Harrison County, firmly believe Confederate monuments do not belong in any public space within the state of West Virginia. Given the current climate of our country, it is our hope that Harrison County will lead in showing our state and the country that our county does not tolerate or give safe harbor to hatred and oppression. We must relocate the Stonewall Jackson Monument at the courthouse, county courthouse. Confederate monuments in public spaces glorifies white supremacy, moralize the traitist government whose founding principles was to perpetuate and expand slavery. Central to our state constitution are the declarations that all persons are created equal. Article 1, Section 1, that slavery is forever prohibited. Article 1, Section 17, and that no person is subject to discrimination by the state because of race. Article 1, Section 19. These guiding principles are contradictory to the location of the Confederate monument at public spaces. As you are aware, Stonewall Jackson was a participant in the foul legacy who fought and died to preserve slavery. While we recognize that the statue of Stonewall Jackson represents a part of the history of Clarksburg, Virginia, it does not represent the history of our great state, West Virginia. On February 8th, 1861, representatives from several states announced the formation of the Confederate State of America.
Amen.
With Jefferson Davis and Alexander Stephens as vice president.
After President Abraham Lincoln called for 75,000 volunteers to suppress the Southern Rebellion, Arkansas, Tennessee, North Carolina, and Virginia seceded and joined the Confederacy, except for 48 counties in the Western Virginia that broke away and formed the Union loyal state of West Virginia, which held to its bold proclamation that mountaineers are always free, which all by now understand that freedom did not guarantee equality for people of color. When the statue was erected in 1953, separate but equal was the policy in Harrison County. And while we were separate, we were not equal, which makes the statue even more offensive to people of color. The goal of relocating this monument is not to erase or eradicate history as some proclaim, and we are well aware that the relocation of this monument will not erase this country's long history of slavery. However, it sends a message that the deplorable history of our county, of our country and state is neither condoned nor respected. Citizens will and should always have the right to fly the Confederate flag or place monuments on their private property, but it's past time to move the monument of Stonewall Jackson to an appropriate place. Therefore, we strongly believe Harrison County should relocate this monument, which is a constant reminder of the systematic racism which exists in our country. By relocating this monument, Harrison County will demonstrate its willingness to address the years of racial inequality and make this county a place where everyone is welcome. If you approve the relocation of the monument, you assure people of color that mountaineers are always free applies to them, and you will not alienate an entire group of people. We believe that the statue should be preserved but relocated, and we're asking the commissioners to reconsider their previous vote on this matter.
When I was preparing to come here today, I decided to wear a t-shirt from our 2018 festival. The board of directors goes in quite detail to make sure that each year our t-shirt represents the Black Heritage Festival and what it means. The front is all about who we are, what we're celebrating, and our logo. The back is our theme, and we always try to have a message with our theme. I want to share the message with you and the Harrison County citizens of what our message was and our theme in 2018. Our theme comes from a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The time is always right to do the right thing. This is the way we feel. Thank you very much for your time.
Jim, thank you very much, and I can assure you we will make your comments and documents part of today's record, and that this is a continual issue with the commission, and that we will give it consideration and take it under advisement as we continue to discuss decisions that may be made in the future. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And thank you.
I'd just like for you to know that I appreciate you all coming today and letting us know your opinion. It means a lot. And when we speak to the commission, it's not always all of us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim. All right, it is 10:30. Rebecca Flanagan, is she here? Miss Flanagan. She's going to call in at 10:30?
I'm here, sorry, I was on
Oh,
mute.
there she is. Miss Flanagan, I see you. You're unmuted.
Yes.
You have the floor. Let me, first of all, Rebecca, let Mr. Parker set the stage for us. What do we have here, Willie? And go from there.
We have a funding request in the amount of $2,500 for a Stars and Stripes Therapeutic Equine Center. We funded this project last year to the, as best of my knowledge, that was the first year we had funded that. They have submitted the paperwork, the IRS designation of the 501c3. They've submitted the previous financial information. It appears to be in order for consideration by the commission.
All right, Rebecca, you have the
Yes,
floor,
sir.
honey.
Thank you. Yeah, as Mr. Parker said, we are Stars and Strides Therapeutic Equine Center. Last year, our funding request initially was to work with women who are in addiction recovery, and that it fell through due to some participation issues. So we ended up using it to work with children who were on probation, and the program was pretty successful. We had some really good feedback from the participants and from the probation officers, and we were hoping to do that project again. And we know that the children in our community are really struggling, especially now. And we were hoping to be able to bring some children out to the farm and get them outside and doing some outdoor activities and do a little equine therapy with us.
All right, thank you. Mr. Parker, staff has done the review. Do you have any recommendations for the commission?
It appears to be in order, Mr. President. If the commission so desires, it would be considered for approval.
All right, David?
Move to approve.
Mr. President, could you second that, because I'm going to have to stay.
All right.
I serve on that board.
Go, what's that, Patsy?
I serve on that board, so I'll stay for that.
All right, so you will recuse yourself from the vote. All right, I second it. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much. We really appreciate your support.
All right. Item 2 on our agenda is consent agenda. What's the pleasure of the commission?
I have a couple of things I'd like to talk about.
Okay, you want to pull them, David, and or do you want to talk about them now?
Or you want Greater Harrison County Public Service Station?
What item is that, David? Is that E?
It's under E, their minutes and stuff.
All right,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and discuss it now then, since it's, all right.
One of the things that I noticed in their minutes is they're still running heavy water loss, average of 35%, Lost Creek, Mount Clair 44, Quietdale 31, Good Hope 27. It seems that they definitely have a water leak issue. It looks like Without knowing more, that it's gonna take some maybe substantial money to fix it. I see that we, are in an issue that we owe the money, Mr. Parker? Or we get paid in full? Greater Harrison seems to think we owe $16,000 to $18,000 on, Cooper's Run.
I'd have to look and see what the invoices, where they stand. I know they invoice this monthly. I haven't researched that, but unless there was a issue or a lost invoice, we should be in current or in the process of paying things.
And I see nowhere where we stand with Greater Harrison and Cooper's Run and their discussion.
I did get an email from Todd Swanson that came in while I was off. I have not reviewed that, but they've outlined some tentative dates to get that process started.
And I see that they are making Stevens Run a priority based upon the Harrison County Commission. Does anybody in the commission know what priority that's set up for Stevens Run? Speak to that.
Stevens Run, I know that, in the past, we've had individuals here with the Blackwater and so on with reference to Stevens Run. And I think that is an area, to do a water line, expansion or extension, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Parker.
Yes, correct.
Help me with that. And, I'm assuming their board of directors maybe put that as a priority, David, that should they be able to get the money or grant money to continue that extension. I think it's from Route 20, if I'm not mistaken, over Stevens Run and comes out on Lost Creek Romance Mill Road, somewhere over in there.
I see that their priorities again kind of have to do with us, Stevens Run, quarter main line replacements and meters at Coons Run. And for the meters at Coons Run, Mr. Parker comes along the commission today.
I have not discussed that with them.
No.
It should not, but I have not discussed that with them. That should become part of their operational cost.
And that they need a tank of good hope. I'm just looking at this internally, this is a PSD that looks like it has a lot of money it needs to spend without much in the way of expansion. I'm talking about maybe building another package plant for sewage, so I'm just, would like to know more if this commission's gonna get involved in water and sewage, just exactly what's going on with, it seems like a lot of money in the plant.
You can always plan, and you can always have it on your list. Doesn't mean you're gonna follow through with it, David.
I understand that. I'm just saying that they, wanna see a lot of water loss, and they got a lot of projects.
Right. Okay.
That's it.
You got anything else under consent agenda you wanna speak on?
No.
No? All right. Need a motion to, approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye. We have payroll change notice. Mr. Parker,
Just one employee that had some
sick leave.
sick leave and family medical leave.
All right. Mr. Parker, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, motion to approve payroll change notices.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Exonerations, corrective tickets, joint property applications.
From the record, I'd like to show that exonerations total 23,000. Corrective tickets show $3,039.
All right, we'll make that for the record, David. Billy? Motion to approve. All in favor, say aye. consolidation of land, segregation of land.
We have none.
Item 6 is consider the approval of project fund requisition for the payment of costs associated with a project that's financed for Series 2019 bond, Charles Point Economic Opportunity Development District. Mr. Parker.
We do have two payment requisitions. The first one in the amount of $71,069.02. That's to Genesis Partners Limited Partnership for project administration. The other one is a requisition for earthwork, dirt work, site work, whatever the case may be, in the amount of $1,421,380.41. Of course, as you gentlemen are aware, these are all paid from the bond proceeds. There's no county, separate county funding involved. And that last payment was to Wolf Excavating.
I think anybody going up and down 79 can see the earth moving that's going on where Menards will be constructed in 2021. All right, what's pleasure? We have a motion to approve. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Item 7 is review, discuss, and consider the resignation of Joe DeFazio from the Harrison County Civil Service Commission for Deputy Sheriff. That is our appointment onto that 3-member board. Need a motion to accept the resignation of Joe and to send a letter on our behalf, Mr. Parker, thanking him for his service.
All right.
Information, I do not see a letter of resignation from Judge Basie.
No, the letter is from David Goddard, who's the president of the Civil Service Commission. He made contact with the family, and
That's fine, but that's our job to talk to Joe DeFazio, and for him to put it in writing, it's not our, we do not have the right to accept his resignation, in my opinion, based on a letter from somebody else. If so, then two people can start issuing letters asking for a lot of resignation. Until Joe DeFazio, I think this needs to be put on hold, and
all right,
commissioners need to personally talk to Mr. DeFazio and see what his feelings are before we accept his resignation and not do a third party.
Motion to approve the resignation.
That's
Not a resignation.
It is a resignation when the man states it.
I would concur, Patsy, with that, pending a letter from Joe that he is resigning. I know he's had some medical problems, so I'm not sure of what his capabilities are and that.
He's home, and according to his family, supposedly doing all right. So again, this is a letter from somebody that, not Joe DeFazio.
All right.
I find it very upsetting that we would accept a resignation from anybody in one of these positions based on third party.
Up to you, Roy. Motion to approve his resignation.
All right. I would like Patsy to amend that pending under the condition that we do get a letter of resignation, and if we don't,
Whatever you would.
I think it's only proper that we do. I mean, I go with the resignation based on what Mr. Goddard comments. I'm sure they have
Well, because of his condition, which was an aneurysm, I don't believe the family actually is going to let him know what's going on right now. They don't want to upset him. Now, I know you two maybe see that differently than I do, but I'm very sensitive to it. If you want to do what you're going to do, do it. I'm only one of 3, like you always hold up 2 fingers. You guys do what you want to do. My motion is to accept his resignation out of respect to him not out of disrespect to him. David's right. I don't do anything behind anybody's back, even though he calls me out on that sometimes. But this is a situation where we're actually protecting the individual, and if you two don't want to do that, I respect your wishes as two out of three.
Would you entertain deferring this until next Wednesday?
Do whatever you want to do, please. Please do whatever you want to do.
Would you withdraw your motion then?
No.
All right, the motion is to accept the resignation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Never seconded.
What's that?
Never seconded unless you did it.
Oh, I second it. How's that? It really doesn't need a second because we're a small group, but, anyway. So he's in favor, you're not?
No.
All right, I concur. Let's defer this, Mr. Parker, put it back on for, next meeting for action.
Number 8 would also need to wait.
We'll do 8 also, that's, Moffett Joe.
All right.
All right, item 9 is review.
Excuse me, number 8, I don't see that. Where is that in the agenda?
Under number 8?
That's just an item.
See any paperwork on number
Oh,
8?
I do not have any paperwork.
So what is number 8?
That was an appointment to someone to fill the unexpired term that's pending the,
And when did we discuss appointing this person? Has that been discussed by the commission?
it was an agenda item that was added to the agenda. To my knowledge, it has not been.
Added by me.
I know it has been in the past, that, even prior to reappointment of, Mr. DeFazio, that,
So it's been decided outside of the commission?
no,
No.
it'll be
Sounds to
tabled.
me, I'm just gonna say it, sounds to
Absolutely,
me like it
I've
was.
had no discussion with anybody about this, I made the issue.
Are we sure that we wanna go down this road with this gentleman? That he was gonna be appointed today? And I had no idea that he's been brought up, and you two seem to know that he was gonna be appointed today?
That is,
I have an issue with that.
that has been considered Ron, because Ron and I have had no discussion about this, I did this on my own, and you can only look at me right now, David, you
Well, I'll
can't
look
look
at
at Ron. Okay, this was my agenda item, and I was hoping to get favorable opinion from Mr. Malpajoe, and
Well,
again, if we
let's hear
get the
you.
resignation
Why
letter.
would we vote for him to
If
have
you'll
the
let me
job?
finish, Mr. Kninkle. If you want to interrupt everything I
Go
say
ahead.
for the next 2.5 years, please tell me now, because you've done it for 18 months.
Probably will.
Well, that is
Mr.
considered,
Parker.
that's a different person than we are.
Put it back on the action item for next week along with Mr. DeFazio. All right?
And please put it, if we're gonna do this, and I wanna know why we're not putting it out for the public, for other people to have the ability to look at instead of one person. I wanna know why I don't get a choice to look at somebody other than the person that Patsy has chosen for this job. So I can bring in a
You have to
person.
choose for this job. Patsy's presenting it to 2 other commissioners that have the right to say
So,
yes or no.
I'll
So
bring
the job
somebody-
do not take personal whatsoever.
I will bring somebody next week for you to look at.
Nothing.
Good. That seems to be the way that we like to appoint people around here. I think it's all done behind the scenes.
Nothing was done behind the scenes.
Okay, well, we'll ask the gentleman, he should be here next week to see if he agrees to what you're saying.
All right, both items 7 and 8 will be back on, the agenda for next week.
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Do your due diligence on both of them to make sure the written documents are here.
I will do
And
that.
also include, anything that, David, any individuals that, written documents that, he wants to bring also. It's not a big deal to me. All right, item 9, I understand, David, I understand. Item 9.
Representing us on the Civil Service Commission and determine what we're gonna end up being sued for, or how employees handle, it's a very big deal. And I want somebody that's competent and knows what they're doing. And if we can't bring those people in here to prove to me that they're competent, then shame on us.
All right, gotcha. I could go further on that, but I'm not, David. Item 9 is to review, discuss, and consider resolution applying for funds for the industrial access, road for economic development projects in Harrison County. Mr. Parker.
Due to the timing of this, grant application, The application was submitted ahead of this meeting. We're requesting an amount not to exceed $200,000 for the Industrial Access Road funding program. This would be in case there's any surplus money left in the state funding as of June the 30th. That was the reason the application need to be on file prior to that date.
And this is the road bonds for the lane project between Eastview and Route 50.
This is the Sun Valley Industrial Park is what they have on the resolution.
Okay. I might be wrong then.
Sun Valley? Yes.
Sun Valley.
Willie?
Yes. Gina,
That
yes.
was my mistake. If it says Sun Valley, it is for the industrial park for Eastview.
All right, yes, it does say Sun Valley, yes.
Okay, because I grabbed in hurrying to get that out the door, I grabbed the old one and just changed some numbers. So I will make the change on that and put the
All
corrected
right.
one in.
All right,
All right, it's only a resolution, only if the funds are available.
correct.
Yes.
Further discussion on it? Since it's already gone after the fact, I need a motion to approve. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Item 10 is review and discuss, consider reappointment of Mary L. Robinson to the Harrison County Public Building Commission. It's a 5-year term. Mary has served on there basically during my entire tenure. This is from actually October, so it's through through September 30th of 2024. Mr. Parker.
It's just a reappointment of an existing board member. We're getting that paperwork in line. We've been working on the various boards and committees, trying to make sure the oath of offices are up to date. And this is one that we need to bring to current as of October 2019. Ms. Robbins was here earlier. I think she had another appointment.
All right.
Matter of approval before the commission at this point.
Commissioner Hinkle.
I won't complain again, if we're gonna put something on the agenda, if there's nothing on the agenda, that doesn't have to. I don't understand why we're not being supplied the information.
I can make sure that happens in the future. In the past, when we've had reappointments to boards such as this, this is the practice that we have done, but we can change the practice.
All right. What's the pleasure? All right, we have a motion to approve the reappointment. I'll second it, just so that it'll be part of the record. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. All right, the no is just David, not aye. All right, item 11 is review, discuss, and consider the line revisions to the current 1920 budget for prosecuting attorney's office. Mr. Parker.
Actually, item 11 and 12 are similar items, just different offices.
All right.
One for the prosecuting attorney's office is item 11. She has requested to move money around within their various line items to cover expenditures for the end of the fiscal year. And the sheriff has done the same thing for 703, the jail staging area, and 700 law enforcement.
All right. So it does not change their bottom line?
No, it does not.
It's just a revision within their budget.
Correct.
What's the pleasure? We have a motion to approve item 11 and 12. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item 13 is review, discuss, and consider inter-county job transfers. Mr. Parker?
We have, in the past, and, I'm sure we'll have more in the future, of individuals that want to transfer for whatever reasons from various departments, and just to get clarification to make sure. Many times they are lateral transfers and people move at the same pay grade and step. Since all departments now on the pay grade and step, it comes into more focus maybe at certain times. I'll pick on Greg since he's here. For example, right now we have a current animal control officer position. If Mr. Greg wanted to get rid of some headaches in the maintenance department and just work in animal control for the next year, 2, 3, whatever he wanted to until his retirement, as long as it's not more than 15 years, it doesn't affect his retirement. I'm sure we probably would not transfer him or move him to that job at his current salary. So if the commission is agreeable, I'll work on some language for our handbook that will indicate, if you have a transfer from one department to the other, it may result in a reduction or an increase in salary, depending on the circumstances of that position and the duties of that position compared to the one they're currently in.
I like what you're saying, but why is it necessary? We don't have it part of our policy. So right now, Greg transfers to planning. It's up to us, and
This would advise the employees and put the employees at least on notice, or that they are aware that there's the possibility of a, change in compensation. It's, some people may assume that I'm just going to continue to make X number of dollars no matter what position it is, and that would not necessarily be the case. It would depend on the duties of the position, what the other people in that department are making, years of service, et cetera.
but who's going to make that decision?
The commission will ultimately, for commission departments, the commission will ultimately make that decision based on recommendations from the department head and to myself, and then that recommendation will come to the county commission. For the constitutional offices, they'll make that decision within their budgetary guidelines. For example, most of our deputy tax office clerks, assessors, whatever, our pay grades, depending on the department, 4 or 5, and some supervisory persons are outside of that. But, most administrative assistants start pay grade 4 area. If someone, again, from Brian, I'll pick on Brian Hayes since he's here, he's above that pay grade 4, if he would transfer to the assessor's office, he would probably see a reduction in salary based on the duties of the position and what other people in that department are making.
Do you have pay grades defined by if you work a certain job that you're a 4-2 as opposed to another job that you're not?
The commission has job descriptions in place. Not all departments do. But we do have pay grades and steps for all positions now, yes.
How do you do that without the word? Because I like Rick. I may not like Greg. So Rick transfers and I say it's okay, but Greg transfers and I say it's not?
Well, that's what we're trying to avoid with this. You can't really put in a hard and fast rule, I don't think. In my opinion, right off the top of my head, is, for example, if we have a job opening that, ultimately goes to a pay grade 4 at our 911 center. If someone would apply for a dispatching job, which we have a couple of vacancies right now, if someone would apply for that job internally and go through the training, I don't think you would want to start them then at that point after they're trained at a pay grade 6, 7, 8, which is a supervisory position at that 911 center.
Our highest dispatcher, and I'm roughly off the top of my head, makes $58,000. They Rick makes 68 if he's ready for that job. So we then take him to 58 automatically.
He would go to 58 or below, in my opinion, yes. Because that's the duties and functions of that position versus the one they were in. You know, for example, I'll use myself. Next year I'm going to retire and I just want a year of less stress.
At the 911
At the-
center.
yeah.
But let me ask you something, would that screw up your pension then?
No. Your pension's based on the highest 36 consecutive months out of the past 15 years for PERS. So it wouldn't help my pension, but it would not adversely affect it.
Give me 1 second, I gotta think about this for a second. Trying to figure out how. So all we're saying is if you're gonna take a step down, it's on the understanding that,
Well, it may not be a step down.
well, let me give you one more scenario, and I'll leave it to this.
Okay.
And I'm gonna use Greg as the example.
He's a big boy.
With a bad neck and a bad leg,
There you go.
but he can't be maintenance supervisor anymore. But he could work the 911 center in a controlled environment,
Out of the weather.
and so he's gonna do that. And even though it's disability, I mean, it's an attorney gonna come and say, wait a minute, you can't cut his pay because he can't do the present job that he has anymore. Then you get into the Disability Act.
No, that would not be my opinion, not an attorney, but my opinion, that would not be not saying you wouldn't be sued, it wouldn't be a viable lawsuit because the essential functions and duties of the job are outlined. He can no longer, at this point, picking on Greg still, he could no longer perform the essential duties and functions of the maintenance director's job.
Right. With the understanding that, yes, we want to keep you.
Yes, we want to keep you.
Sure, going to that
Yeah,
center.
you've got another year, 2, 3.
$1,000.
Yeah, year 2, 3 for retirement. You're not eligible for retirement right now. Another year, 2 or 3, you will be, but you cannot be the maintenance supervisor or director. There's another position you will have to function in. And since that other position is not as high on the pay grade scale, there will be a reduction in compensation possible. Not in all cases. Definitely not in all cases.
That's my question, you say that's not, how did you define that?
Well, yeah, you can,
But that's a promotion. I'm worried about a downgrade and somebody saying you're taking money away from it.
He has to apply.
yeah, they have
Apply
to,
for it, then they're asking.
yeah, and
They'll
people,
know it ahead of time by being in the manual.
Right.
that's correct. That's exactly right. Yeah, put it in the manual so they know up front, there may be, not guaranteed, there may be.
A reduction if you apply.
Yeah.
Okay.
To put them on notice that, hey, this is something I want to ask about.
It's not that you're automatically saying your point.
If somebody moves from Albert's office to Susan's office to Albert's office, it's pretty much a lateral move. That's basically what we've had in the past, that I'm aware of. We've really not had other moves that have been outside that area.
Went from
This is gonna be clear.
to
It'll
you.
be in the handbook, yeah, personnel handbook. I'll bring, the language we brought back for commission approval, I just wanted to get a discussion of how to proceed type thing, but the language will be presented to the constitutional officials according to our handbook, a minimum of 10 days before a decision is made by the commission.
Can we please run this by the prosecuting
I most definitely will.
attorney? Yeah, please let's do that.
All right.
I like it, I'm just.
All right, what's the pleasure of the commission?
Motion to move forward for the interpretation of the handbook, for review.
All right,
For review by the commission, yes. And final approval.
okay. David?
I think it's great.
All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mr. Parker, you have it.
All right.
It is 11 o'clock now. We have a hearings on progress estate list I don't know whether we have anybody out there on show cause.
Let me see.
I know the letters scared a lot
I
of people.
know. Am I getting
We have any individuals for estate here?
Animal control.
Estate, yes. Whoever was here first. Or all the others that we. Okay, come on in, you're all together then. Pull these other two chairs around there if you would, gentlemen.
Y'all can sit down, come on up, to the, desk. Are y'all three together?
Yes.
Come on up, you can be seated, no problem. State your name for the record, and we'll see where we go from there. What's the,
The estate name and I can pull the file. The estate name and I can pull the file.
Charles Moore, Charles K. Moore.
all right, y'all can sit.
All right.
Susan pulls the record, and then we'll go from there.
Charles K., right?
Yes.
All right, Susan, if you don't mind, I'm going to yield to you, and you let us know what we have here and what, the issue is. First of all, let's get them on the record. You are?
Brenda J. Ford. Angela Channel.
Gail Channel.
And all three of you are involved in the estate. Is one of you the executor?
I'm the executor.
Okay.
All right. They are involved with the state because they're living in the house that was in the will. I have two brothers that were listed, but they're not here.
Okay.
Okay.
Susan, if you don't mind, after you take a review there, tell us what we have, honey.
I don't really know.
I don't know
I mean,
either.
what these are estates that we've had for several years.
Okay.
In some cases. And they passed, legislation a couple years ago that we can, the commission can administratively close them. So that, there's a process we have to go through.
Okay.
We have to advertise, we have to send out notices, and I know it scares a lot of people, but it's part of the process.
All right.
So I don't know if you want to keep the estate open, or is it okay for the commission to administratively close it?
I mean, the estate, I'm the executor. The only thing that's left is the house and the land, and she is buying it. She's making the payments on it now, so, and that's the only thing. And I wasn't sure what any of this was about. I live in Ohio. My husband and I have separated, and obviously you had sent out a letter in January, and he never gave me that letter, and I only got this letter now saying that this hearing was here today. So I made plans for vacation day at work to come down to be here.
I reckon the question is,
And I didn't know what was going on with this.
do you have any issues in us administratively closing it, so it'll be over with for you guys?
No,
All
I
right,
do not.
okay. We have that on the record, Susan. All right, any other questions? Susan, you have any questions?
No, I.
Hearing none? Thank you.
All right, all right, so that's
Thank you all.
it? All right,
We have another one out there?
thank you.
We've got three more that I'm aware of.
All right.
Bring Nicholson.
Yeah. Just up front of the table.
Okay.
You can have a seat, ma'am.
All right.
And the estate is,
Raymond Nicholson.
you got it, Susan? Yep. All right, identify yourself for the record,
My name is Amanda Wilkinson.
and you are the executor or the administrator?
Yes.
All right. Susan will share with you what this action is.
Basically, like I told people before, we have, as you can see, several old estates. And the legislature passed a law a couple years ago that we can dispose of these estates. The commission can administratively close them, but we have to go through the process of sending a letter, advertise it in the newspaper, and send a notice. And is there a reason you would want to leave it open?
No.
All right. Would you be opposed to them administratively closing it?
No.
Thank you very much.
That's
That was
it?
easy, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
All right.
Thank you.
Excuse me, hello?
Have a seat up front.
Hello?
Hello. If you please mute your,
Is someone on Zoom, do you have an estate question, or what do you need?
This is on, Bill.
Hello?
You called on, hello?
Yes, what's your question? Is this pertaining to
I
the
was-
state?
Yes, about my wife,
About your what?
Leanne Hudkins.
All right, if you'll be mute yourself, or we can mute you, then we'll come back to that, estate then.
okay. Sir, if you'll identify yourself for the record, and then Susan will share with you what this process is.
Okay, Marshall C. Mahler, I'm Burnell's son.
And you are the administrator or the executor?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I don't know if you understand what's taking place today or not. As I've told the previous people, the legislature changed the law a couple years ago. As you can see, we have several old estates, and this is just
Sure.
that much of them.
Oh, wow.
So we can go through this process to close the estates. The commission could administratively close it, or if you choose to keep it open and finish it, we can do that. So we have to go through this process of sending a letter out, first letter out, if you got that or not.
Yes, ma'am. I think
And then
I
we
did.
have to notice it in the paper and send you another notice of this hearing.
Okay,
So that's why we're here today.
okay.
If you do not object to them administratively closing the estate, they can, or if
Okay.
you want to continue, you could do that.
I think we'll go ahead and just close
Close
it,
it.
if that's okay.
All right. Thank you very
Hey,
much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
They will sign an order closing it.
Okay, all right, thank you, appreciate it.
Yes.
One question, if another estate affects his down the road, that's still ongoing, does that complicate our, if we were to have any interest in that?
I don't think so, does
I don't
it?
think
Susan?
Okay,
it should.
good deal.
It should.
Yeah, okay, good deal, appreciate it.
So this is closing it just as if you would now.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, Wayne Harris. Have a seat up front there if you would.
How you doing?
Very good.
All right. If you'll identify yourselves for the record, please.
I'm Sharon Harris.
Bruce Kidd.
Is one of you the executor or the administrator of the estate?
She's the heir only, but she got the notice from,
Oh, she got the notice
as an heir,
as an heir.
yeah.
What
And
about,
the representative didn't show up.
all right, Susan, share with them what this is all about.
Basically, legislature passed a law a couple of years ago that we can close, the commission can administratively close old estates, and that's what these three boxes over here are, and this is just a small portion of them. And this is a process we have to go through to do that. We have, because we sent a letter out, somebody said January.
Yeah.
And then you have 30 days to say what you want to do with it. And then we had to notice it in the newspaper and send a notice of this hearing if we didn't get any response from anybody. That's what today is. So if you want if they're okay with just the commission administratively closing it, they can do that.
I think everything is done on his estate anyway.
What'd she say?
She believes everything's already been done by the,
You're okay with
by her
closing?
stepson.
Okay, as an heir.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Brian will try and find him. I don't know if he remember the name or number or what.
510 number.
Ryan D. Barr. All right, if you can hear me, whoever it was that had a question on the estate, if you'll unmute yourself and identify yourself for the record.
Armin Gill.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
It's Armin, Armin. My last name is Gill, Gill.
What estate are you calling about?
Jonna Leanne Hudkins.
Hudkins?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gill, are you the administrator or the executor for the estate?
I was her husband. I wasn't aware of any of this until yesterday.
All right. Are you an heir to the estate?
Yeah, I would guess. It was just me and her brother that were the only surviving relatives.
And was it her father or someone, mother that passed away?
Yeah, her father, her mother, and her. They all three passed away within like a year.
Susan, what you got?
I mean, it's the same as all these others.
All right. Since you're not the executor, are you voicing you want it closed, or do you want it to remain open and you're going to take action, or what?
I'm not sure. What is this regarding? Is
Closing the estate.
Right. I wasn't aware of anything being in the estate other than the farm.
Okay.
And is this regarding that?
It was whatever the will said, or whatever was in the estate.
Okay. Can I keep it open and get more contact information about this after you guys are done?
Since you're not the executor, or is it show that he's an heir or anything, Susan?
He was the spouse,
Okay.
and it's just, there was no will.
No will.
Mother. Who was Brenda Lee Hudkins?
Her mother, my mother-in-law.
No, they all passed.
Want to pull it or what?
Did Joanna own any property when she passed?
No, just a vehicle, but that was it.
That's probably why it was open to transfer the title to that vehicle? Or do you know?
Okay, yeah. I mean, I would imagine, but since all that has happened, and her mom didn't have a will and stuff, so my father-in-law and my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law, like, ever since all three of their passings, we've been like in gridlock with estates regarding the farm, because there's a lot of land and stuff. That's why I was concerned about this. I didn't know if it was going to affect anything about any of that stuff.
Well, you would either have to come in and file an appraisement, and if she owned any real estate or had any money at the time of her death, or any assets, those would have to be listed on that form.
Okay. So this is just on her behalf.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
This is just basically on stuff that she owned at the time.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and close it.
All right, Mr. Gill, thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Sorry about that.
No problem. All right. Willie? Hearing no one else, right?
No one else that I'm aware of.
Before the commission, Susan, it's your recommendation that we administratively close whatever numbers you got there?
Yes, sir. There are two that want to remain open. We got a request to leave those open, and they're in a separate file.
All right. What's the pleasure?
Make motion to adopt.
All right. Administratively closed. Any further discussion, David? No. Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, by our action, we have closed a bunch of three boxes full.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, back on the agenda. Item 14 is first Wednesday of each month. Apparently we have maintenance, planning, rails to trails, parks and recreation, administrative staff updates. All right, we'll start with maintenance. Director?
Mr. President, I'd like to start with a comment just as a citizen.
Can you sit if you want?
If I could get some cooperation with the commission, I think I would like to maybe set up some kind of a group up. I'd like to meet with the state police, maybe the commission and the sheriff to see what we can do about this problem with a lot of backpackers. And there seems to be an exorbitant amount of that going on between the Wolf Summit and Route 19 area. They're walking in people's houses, they're breaking in stuff. It's out of control, and I don't know what we do. They're going on people's farms, in barns. They're everywhere, and I don't know what the answer is, but I would like to see if we could have a meeting, if you all would be interested, since it's out in the county, to be a part of that. I've got enough stuff to do, but it's getting ridiculous.
Custer is another identified area, by the way, behind the old school.
Yeah.
Province area.
Yeah, I don't know what we do about it, but it's way out of hand in our community. So with that being said, on the senior citizen building, I've been in contact with Bryson, the architect, and the air conditioning is up and working. We're still waiting on the controls, and Bryson is working on that right now, and I believe they're going to close everything out, with the exception of $500 in case anything needs to be added to or corrected. I've been in contact with Mr. Craig Baker on the public service building, and they've completed the 3D scanning for the facade update that was requested, and that's coming in at approximately $200,000. They're looking at, Willie and I met on site with them down there, and we got on the roof, and they did a study to see what we needed and didn't need with the HVAC stuff, and it appears there's a couple rooftop units that need replaced. We did have an asbestos test done in the past that there's some old coal tar on the existing roof, but it's not friable, so it's not an issue. I don't know if you want me to go through all of the cost. To replace the roof itself is $254,000, which was in line with what we were looking at before, maybe a little less. But there's some additional cost of $125,000 because 6 of the 8 rooftop units need replaced. Now, I did have my staff down there on the law enforcement side of the building. Actually, what started that, we went with Mr. Baker and his HVAC engineer and discovered that there was ductwork that was disconnected up in the small crawl space going down that hallway. So it's no wonder they were having issues in some of the offices. So my staff was down there earlier this week, and we went and bought some flex duct, and we have some more of that connected. So I'm sure that will go a long way. They had $30,000 down here for some ceiling and duct repairs. The engineer did, but I think we've probably knocked a lot of that out and saved some money. We've done some work at the Summit Park area. I have to put 2 gates up. There's been some people getting in there. We had some issues with doors being pried open and maybe a vehicle, and then again, some backpackers or whatever was staying up on the one field, and I contacted the sheriff, and he had Deputy Renzelli go up there, and I believe that issue's resolved. But we tore down some of the old fence. We moved it back so you can get off the road. We put some split rail fence in. I wanted to build a wood fence to make it look nice, but just with the time and everything else going on, we made a dedicated entrance and an exit, and we're going to relocate some signs for them, and we've been trying to get that cleaned up. We're working with the Wallace Park. I bought them some paint. Their volunteer group is chomping at the bit to do some stuff down there. So I did purchase some paint for the fence around the parking area that we made last year, and they have an outside latrine area that they wanted to paint and clean up. So I did get them the paint and supplies to do that. Depending on this PJ Kelly's building, we are moving forward to demolish that. So, would you all like me to move forward with removing the fire escape? I have not been back in there, but there's people getting in that building as well. It appears maybe be of an evening. I can call the Clarksburg chief and see if he could have somebody check into it more. If we're going to be removing it in the near future and we don't want to spend the money removing the fire escape. It appears they're climbing up the back of the building and actually removing some of the windows, and it looks like they're maybe trying to take them out of there and sell them, I guess. I don't know what to do. So whatever your pleasure is, I can get a hold of somebody to remove some of that fire escape. I wouldn't want to do it myself just because of it's awkward and it's heavy, and if we did cut it down, you got to have something to get a hold of that so we don't get somebody hurt. But whatever your pleasure is on that.
I think we need to make the building safe, Greg, whatever that calls for. Making it safe in terms of no one should be in there to begin with, so.
Yeah. We had doors, we had chained, we've had stuff over, and they're pretty dogged about getting in there. It's not through the front, it's through the back.
Utilities are all turned off, right?
I believe. I had Clarksburg turn the water off, and I'm not sure if did we do the power?
I don't think the power's been done yet.
I'll get on the power.
With that, Greg, or,
I'm with you on that, but I don't know why we put any extra money into something we're gonna demo. And if we're making it safe, we're making it safe for bad guys to get in.
they're gonna get sued.
If they burn that building down, we're gonna take the hit.
I think it's a matter of making it safe, trying to prevent entry. Removing the
I'll get on that.
Just where they go up the fire escape into the building. They still may climb the side of it, I don't know. But
Yeah, it is amazing how you can't, it's deplorable. You can't hardly walk by it because of the stench. And we're continuing work on the rail trail. We're cutting a little more grass than what we did because we've got some of the staff from Parks and Rec, which they have done a very good job continuing the disinfecting of the stairway, the banisters, the doorknobs, and they've been helping out other places. So we picked up the Parks and Rec to cut as well. So we've been trying to do some work on the rails trails. Northview, we have cut that. We're looking at putting some bollards up, some gates. We've done some more ditching, and I met with Commissioner Treecoss and the fellow from the conservation officer in charge of that North Bend Rail Trail, and looking at what we can do, where they're at, where they're going to go, and what we can do. We can do a lot. I appreciate the equipment that's been purchased by you all, and we have pretty good staff, and so there's not much we can't do as far as ditching, culverts, gravel, the whole 9 yards. We can get after. There seems to be a problem area around Salem. It is a marshy area that's a third of a mile, Patrick?
Yeah.
About a third of a mile, there's a very marshy area that's gonna be a problem. Evidently, the Army Corps of Engineers tried to correct that, and it didn't. There either needs to be a road bore done or an open cut of the road to get that water out of there.
Fine, if you can mute, there's a couple of people there, second row not muted.
But we'll be looking at that to see what we can do there.
Where you were.
And we'll
left side, second row, sorry.
That's us.
Second row, I thought he was unmuted. Below us.
Good. Unmute.
All right. Sorry.
That's okay. So, we're moving on, and there's things that pop up in the building. We've been working with Judge Matish to get some sneeze guards up and get Judge Bedell's courtroom ready for hearing early Monday morning to try to get that usable. So.
All right. Anything else, Greg? Any questions? David? Pass it.
Just, forget down in the cattails on wetland. Be careful.
Right.
Are we, three of us agree that, you know, since we have the building, I mean, if we couldn't sell it anyway, we have to move forward with the extra $125,000 for the 6 out of 8 units, right? I mean, it has to be done.
Do we need that many rooftop units?
That was their determination, that we could get rid of 2 because the 911's not located there anymore. But
so we would need 6.
That's his recommendation. I just got an email from him.
All 6 have to be new? Because there was 2 newer ones on there.
There are. There are two. The 2 in the back, I believe, he said were fine, but there's going to need to be 6. He had 120. He sent you the email too, so when we get more time, maybe we can sit down and go over it a little closer.
We're ready to go out for, so tell them we're ready to go out for bids. Is that what?
That would be the next step, yes.
Okay, and they've done the facade work?
They did a scan of the building, and he's estimating $200,000 for the facade. There's $91,000 in there that he said we don't have to do abatement because it is not friable.
Right.
If we had the money, they like to go ahead and do that, but that cost was, I believe, $91,000. The $30,000 on the stuff inside, I think we took care of probably a lot of that. There was some smashed ductwork, and it's in a really tough area to get to. It's pretty small up in there, but, I think,
Let me ask you one question. $200,000 to reface the front of the building?
I think that's that's
I mean, I built a house for $300,000, and it's 3 bedrooms and 4 toilets. What in the world? I mean, this beautiful stone on the front of that building?
Or ask that they bring back specifications of the scope of the work
detail.
For your review and consideration. Since we're meeting each week, that'll.
I sent him a message earlier today to get the breakdown on it about 7:30 this morning to see if where he was at with all this stuff. So I don't have the breakdown on what all of that entails or what they plan on doing.
in your mind, the budget for this project?
I'm tallying it up as we speak, and we just hit $575,000. And I'm for all of it, because, I mean, we have to do it, because even if we want to sell the building later, it has to be in the condition. But the front of the building, I was, and I wasn't paying attention, maybe who gave us that estimate?
That's a construction estimate from Thrasher Engineering.
Yeah, and that estimate is actually closer to $830,000, but that's providing that they do everything in what he outlined. If we don't have the money for the abatement,
I mean, Greg, how much would it cost us to tear the building down? Sell the land.
All right, anything else, Greg?
We'll bring back specifications and the scope of work. Greg and I will work with Thrasher and get that cost down.
Happy that, and we're on an agreement, I'd like to give an idea of what we're willing to spend, so they know what the work, the part of the scope is.
Yeah, I don't want Greg chasing the tail, he's too busy.
I mean, I don't wanna come back with 800 and start figuring out how to whittle it down.
I mean, the previous budget, we had budgeted up to $500,000 for the roof and the HVAC project. And that sounds like that was gonna be high, based on.
yeah, we were
Those
looking at
numbers.
254 and 125.
David, instead of giving them a number, it's been my experience in the past, they will work that number. I would much rather them sharpen their pencil, give us a bottom line right from the start, so there is no negotiation. That's their bottom line. They don't go one way or they don't go the other.
Yeah, this, of course, this is just a construction estimate before it goes out to bid.
Right.
But, we will make sure they clearly understand, a facade improvement of $200,000 is not acceptable. We will make that clear.
I mean, with the other two prices seem within line, but that
Yeah.
one's way, like Matthew said, you can get a house built.
Yeah, I agree that you could do some stone and modernizing and some paint, some other stuff out there for way, way, way less than that.
All right, thanks, Greg.
You're welcome. Thank you all for the support and everything that you've done for this department.
Schaefer.
Thank you all for the pay increase as well, cost of living.
You're welcome.
Hey, Greg, there's a lot of what you'd like to do. Anything you can do between county and state and municipality, because people are getting robbed. I mean, these people are breaking in houses every weekend.
It's bad.
It's bad. And these people are scared.
One of the fellows I had in the military is a sergeant, and he's a trooper, and he's saying there are actually some people being relocated around this area, and that is true, and that's disturbing too, but, the citizens are getting fed up with, and I don't know what you guys can do, I don't know what I can do to work together with the state police and the sheriff.
I mean, Ron, what do you do as a police officer? I mean, what do you do? I mean,
I think it's tough times because with this COVID stuff also, I mean, they may get arrested and they're turned around and let them. After one fellow they just caught out there was a felon from Florida, and they refused to extradite him, so right back out there. I don't know. It's a tough thing to deal with.
Transport them to Dodge County. Sorry. Upshur County.
I'll take it.
All right, Ms. Schaefer, you got it.
Okay, we just had a planning commission meeting this last week, and it was a special meeting because we had a subdivision to approve. They're at Malsby Cove, they're adding on. So they submitted their plans and their application, and we're moving forward to getting it approved by another engineer. And he has those plans right now. I just sent out, you all probably got it, the saldo. We have our first draft.
Saldo would be, the acronym stands for subdivision.
Subdivision and land development ordinance.
Okay.
It's a big read. But we did go through it with an engineer, and they made a lot of suggestions for us, and we implemented a good bit of them. So hopefully we've got that going in the right direction. The Farmland Protection Board, we haven't really done anything with it. It's still it's just kind of on the hold. Last time that we had gotten together, they were wanting to get those properties appraised, and that's pretty much where it stopped. For my nuisance orders, I have David Fishbein. His day is up today. We did go back to court. The judge gave him another 15 days. Today is the day. If he doesn't have it cleaned up today, then the county can go in and clean it. I did get an estimate of about $14,000. It might be a little bit more because he really didn't get to get in there to get a good look at everything. He was kind of flipping out about a bus. Don't you want me to get rid of that bus? Yes. We also have a Michael Lyons. Michael Lyons has passed. His sister has taken over all of his stuff. And we've given her some time to figure out what to do. I think she's going to try to get a loan to have 2 different properties cleaned up. And it's going to cost her about $16,000 to clean it up. So we're trying to work with her, give her a little bit extra time. She seems to want to get it cleaned up. She's been in contact with the lawyer, and he seems to think that she's on the level and she's wanting to get it cleaned. I have given 12 different people to Trey to file and go to court with. His process is he writes them a letter, he gives them 10 days. If they do not respond within that 14 days, he then files. We're still in that 10 days. I have 12 people that need to come to the commission, so I need to get hearing dates set up. We've been getting quite a few properties cleaned up, some that have been hanging out there for quite a long time, and they're finally coming off the list. The rail trails, still waiting on Jay Goldman. I did talk to him a couple weeks ago and kind of did light a little bit of a fire under there. He says, yes, I am working on it. I am going to be getting it. I'm almost done.
This is the appraisal for the Northern Trail.
Yes, for the Northern Trail from Spelter to Haywood. We are also in talks with CityNet and Zayo for broadband to be buried along the rail trail. The meeting that we had this morning with Paul Elliott from the North Bend Rail Trail and with Greg and Patsy, he met with them, the last 3 days he's been with them, and he says that their agreement has been for their 72 miles of trail, Zayo is going to put gravel on the entire 72 miles. So that's over $1 million. And they also have a section of property that needs to be bought from CSX. CSX is in talks with them. So Willie and I also talked to them and said, you know, why don't you try to get these properties, donate them back to us. So I think that's what they're looking at doing. So crossing my fingers and hoping that we get the property that we do need to finish this. The grants, the grants that have been hanging out there for almost 6 years now. They are getting ready to go out to bid with the state. So that should be getting done very soon. Should be this year. I think that's about all I have.
All right, any questions of Charlotte? David?
Where do we stand for Wendy's, the VA park?
Wendy's VA. I've been talking with the city. The city needs to still give us that property that they acquired whenever they tore down that house behind there. Once they sign that over to us, I have 3 people to talk to try to get their property. After that, it's all CSX.
CSX still owns Wendy's for VA.
They own 3 parcels in there, 3 small parcels. Private property owners own majority of it. Well, from the cemetery to where we are now, Camden Street, we own that. That's close to a mile, not quite, but close. And the rest of it is private citizens and CSX. So it's that little tiny bit that we're fighting with, trying to get that.
Subdivision on land development ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, where we have to go through to get
Oh.
that implemented.
I'll pull out the code references, but we'll have to have a public hearing or 2 meetings. I'll check and see what's required by statute. I have not done that.
Well, I know first the planning commission has to read it and approve it and then
Yes.
recommend that it go to the commission. And then once it hits the commission, then the commission puts a reading on it. Was it 3 times? 3
I'd
times?
have to look and see.
I can't remember.
The planning commission still needs to have their public hearing and approval process.
Yes.
What kind of teeth would it be as far as enforcement?
A whole lot more than what we have now. It's going to change. In subdivisions, it's changing a little bit, not a whole bunch, but a little bit. Enough to where Mosby Cove needs to get theirs in and get it done because their parcels are 8,000 square feet. And in the new subdivision, they are 10,000 square feet. So if the subdivision goes through without them getting in first, they have to go back and refigure all of it. RV parks, we have that in there.
Going forward, you can't go back and everybody's grandfathered in beforehand.
Right,
It's just going forward for new ones.
right.
I see that you're gonna try to control runoff from these developments on other people's land.
Yes, yes, they do have a sewage plan and a runoff plan, stormwater plan. They do have that.
I appreciate it, I just like to see it, get this adopted if the commission so wishes to as soon as possible.
We currently have a ordinance in place for subdivisions and such. This is substantial revisions and updating.
I've been put why.
Yeah. Yes.
You want us to get it on the next planning commission meeting, David?
Yeah, I think,
What, the subdivision?
Saldo for the planning commission has to go through the planning commission process.
Right.
Yes. We'll get that, they'll probably have to schedule a public hearing. We'll get that taken care of.
I just did send that out to the board and all of you, to read.
yeah.
So,
No, I mean, because the hillside development
mhm.
was very, I was glad to see as detailed as it was as far as custom bills.
Mhm.
It's, I think some of the things that I saw were long overdue implementing and protecting people when it comes time for development purposes.
It is long overdue. It really is.
I think it's a big step forward. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Parks and Recreation, Mr. Parker, that,
I don't know if they're on Zoom or not, or if they realized they were on the agenda. I did not make contact with them. I'd been off. So I don't know if Mike and Doug are on there.
That's okay with me.
So I know Mike is.
You got us yet?
There you go.
All right. Technology isn't my forte.
Give
We
us a
are-
brief update, Mike.
We can do that. We are out right now distributing meals. That's part of what we're doing through Energy Express and our staff. We pack and distribute 3,000 meals every Wednesday that has 10 meals in them. So that's 15,000 meals is getting out every week.
All right, well, that makes it quick.
Energy Express is working with 150 kids plus some brothers and sisters. We, through Zoom, through Facebook, through whatever means, and we distribute and bring materials to their houses and keep things moving for them. Is that quick enough? You want more?
thanks, Mike.
Thank you much. Thank you, Mike.
Administrative
thanks.
staff. Mr. Parker,
I'm just trying to uncover my desk this week, Mr. President.
all right. I do believe these agenda items, Commissioner Hinkle, was your idea to put them on? Right? Okay. Are you satisfied with what you heard today?
Yep. We'll have the other departments later on in the month.
All right. Probably fewer. I don't know. You might get with Commissioner Hinkle, since this was his idea. Some of them can go on for a long time. All right. The last item we have is Commissioner's comments.
We do have one other estate matter that the lady got hung up in the line downstairs for over an hour.
All right. If you don't mind, come on up, honey. I shouldn't be calling you.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to make sure, because I don't understand what that is, because I appointed my brother.
Are you the executor or the administrator?
I'm the heir, but my brother, whenever when mom passed away, I appointed him as executor, so he could take care of everything, because I live far away.
Okay.
And I got this in the mail, and it's kind of,
Do you have any issues with us administratively closing the estate, or do you want it to continue to be left open?
I have no problem with closing as long as everything's taken care of, everything's been paid off,
Right.
taken care of.
Susan?
And there's a
anything?
piece of property that's in my name, and I want to make sure that's not affected by this whole.
Right.
We're just administratively closing it. It's been open for, I don't know how long.
Long time.
Right. So
We
this,
didn't finish it, that's why.
He didn't finish it.
right.
Okay.
All right,
All right, so everything's good?
that's it. Going.
Yay!
You want this back?
All right. Anything else, Mr. Parker, before we get to commissioners' comments?
Not that I'm aware of, Mr.
All
President.
right, we'll start with Commissioner Treecost. Any comments?
I do, Mr. President.
Speak loud and clearly so everybody out there in Zoom land can hear you.
I do, Mr. President. One, we got the dates for the PSC, as I sent you that email so that we can begin the merger with Hepzibah. And I was talking to the county administrator yesterday. We're just going to put in the newspaper, if you guys don't mind, every public hearing for every situation and the dates. That way there's never anybody that says that we missed the Sun Valley one, the Commission one, or the Hepzibah one at the beginning. You see what I'm saying? And that's an update on that. David, the Purple Heart stone is on its way now. We just have to sign now that it's coming. The check's been cut. Would you want one side of that to be the plaque?
That's fine.
Okay. And then one side just designated as Purple Heart? Okay. Chad asked me about the CARES Act for the reimbursement for the health department. Willie, what can you tell me about that?
I forwarded that to Gina, Jessica, and Laura. They're coordinating that. So I'll have them follow up with Chad.
Will you make sure they do?
Yeah.
He's worried. I mean, the money's got to come from somewhere.
He should be able also to apply directly for reimbursement.
Okay.
Based on what I've read on the county commissioner's listserv. But I will double check that and have them get
I think he may be under the impression, and I could be wrong, that he thinks that goes through us.
Don't think it has to, but I will have them follow up and get with him.
And then the only other thing I had is, when you advertise the 911, will that be in-house too?
We've advertised the 911. We have over 180 applications right now.
And you're getting, and do you interview in-house first?
They are included in the interviews. Yeah, we'll be narrowing that list down next week, working with Ms. Sell and Elizabeth Keogh, and narrowing that list down to a manageable number of interviews.
Said 911.
What's the list? Yeah, what's the list?
Oh, I'm thinking animal control. I'm sorry. I was animal control. I was lost. I heard animal control instead of 911.
That's okay.
911, I know we have 2 vacancies. Those need to be advertised yet.
I'm afraid they're gonna start running short.
Okay.
Because I don't, you got 2 people that aren't coming to work right now.
Yeah, that's just a matter of getting that advertisement out. I'll get with Paul and Jim and get that process started.
Please,
We can do that.
that's all I have, Mr. President.
All right. Commissioner Hinkle. Silence is golden. Nothing. All right, I've got a couple things. Joanne, if you don't mind, if you will print, a number of years ago in a previous commission, we did advertise periodically for people in the community that had an interest in serving on a variety of boards, and had asked for those individuals to let the commission staff know at that time. This might be a good time again for you to use the power of the ink that you have to let the public know that if they have an interest in serving on a variety of boards, and we have numerous boards that we appoint people to, that if they've got something to send us why they want to serve and their qualifications. On another issue, Patsy, you made me go back and do some research.
Okay.
Last commission meeting, you made a comment about water sewer primarily that, but also with internet and so on. And we were talking about a $20 million. I did some research of unserved areas of water and sewer in our county. And even though we encompass 840 square miles, we have literally hundreds of miles of properties that are not served by water and sewer. Normally, the way that happens through our PSDs is wherever buildings are being done and contractors then do a number of things in order to get utilities to these developments that's going on. Or the development happens and they don't have the utilities, and then, like we heard earlier with, I think it was Greater Harrison, Stevens Run, doing water line extensions and so on. Well, the research I did was the Enterprise project, which is a sewer project. We know that we have at least 15 to 20 outlets of raw sewer going into the West Fork River from the Enterprise area. All you have to do is float the river and you can see it coming from, I don't know, 400 or 500 homes that's in that particular group of lack of sewer there. Well, that project's underway, and it encompasses over 70,000 linear feet of sewer lines. And I'm not sure, I thought it was $8 million is what they've got that they're putting the sewer line in. But that's like 70,000 linear feet is somewhere around 13 miles. So if you take that and the $8 million, the cost just for sewer is $1 million per mile and a half. Now, if we as a commission want to make sure that everybody has the water and sewer, and we're talking, that's just sewer, you double it if you had water, and that doesn't take into consideration the easement to buy the property or whatever to put that in. I don't think we as taxpayers could afford, I mean, we're doing the best we can now to help these PSDs, and you saw the projects that Hoover had. I mean, I don't know how you get it. As a consumer, I don't want my rates increased anymore because I got water and sewer. Do I care about the others? Sure, I care about them, but not to the extent that I want my rates increased, okay? So all I'm sharing with you is that it's good that we have an opportunity to help where we can help, but there is no way under this heavenly earth that we could afford to just designate everything that we got just for water and sewer, even though there's a need. And that's the reason why the PSDs are out there, and they do the best that they can. And as we already know, with the issues that come up anytime you want to do rate increases. So I just wanted to share that with you. So if when you're talking about it, $1 million per mile, 1.6 miles, $1 million. So just take your little thing and go on your map, and you can figure out actually what's needed for there.
Thank you.
All right, I have nothing else. Bill, thank you for using our rails to trails and our roadways with your bike.
I wasn't trying to pick on Democrats, really.